Hey Zen friends, welcome to the third Quest video for 2025. And if this is the first Quest video that you're seeing, these videos and pretty much everything else I post weekly, monthly, and quarterly this year is all about our quest for the 5 in 2025. It's the quest for the 5 elements. Because each of these quest videos build on each other, I highly encourage you to check out the first 2 quest videos as it provides some great foundational information, especially around the elemental spirit guides. Links for the quest playlist are listed in the description box of this video and will appear at the end of the video as well. The ultimate quest is that for the ethereal, our connection to the spirit world, for it's the only thing that is stable and brings true contentment. We come here to experience the opposite of who we are, but the journey is about eventually returning to full awareness of who we really are, whether that be as a human character or when we step out of these human machines to return fully as a spiritual being. The first 5 videos focus on each of the 5 elements. January, we looked into the air element. February, we experienced the water element. And in this video, we will look at earth. We'll then move into fire, of course, and then we'll finish up with the ethereal. The second half of each of these videos is focused on talking about our 4 elemental spirit guides, and our 5th elemental spirit guide, also known as our guardian angel, or they've been calling it the guardian angel with me. And also we talk about how you can get to know your own elemental spirit guides. Exciting, I know. So if you watched the second quest video, how was it getting to know your water elemental spirit guide? I purposely didn't share much about my own water elemental as I didn't want to influence your adventure in getting to know yours. But now that it's been around a month, I thought I would start off our journey today talking a little bit about my own water elemental spirit guide to provide some context on how they can help us in our emotional adventure and how communicating and interacting with them, what that can look like. I'll keep it semi-short so we can get into the earth element today. In the last 2 videos, I've talked about how I was introduced to my 4 elemental guides. So if you want more deets on how that happened, make sure to check out the previous videos. I mentioned how our connection between us and the elemental spirit guides can be part of a collective that they are. Whether that's a starseed of a starseed collective or as in with my air elemental, part of a wind elemental collective of souls who were all experiencing what it would be like to be part of a large flow of wind, like Zephyr. And the more I'm connecting with my own elemental spirit guides with this focus on them, the more I'm realizing that a higher vibrational existence, that in that we are all really part of some sort of collective, and even collective of collectives. And we'll talk more about that here later in the video and other videos going forward. We don't want to blow up our brains this early in the video, right? All right, so Faye, F.A.E. It's short for flow and ebb, and that's the name she wanted me to use for her in this lifetime. It can change from lifetime to lifetime, depending on what is best for our human character. So I'd like to touch on 4 themes that Faye has shown me. And the first one is about importance of emotional flow. And I love how she wanted to start off sharing that what water loves to do is flow. The tides, the streams, even ponds and lakes like to ripple. And of course, the mighty ocean currents and the Gulf Stream. And an important piece of water flow is the lack of water flow. So when water is stagnant, it infects and it can end life. A clear example of this is Louise Hay's book, You Can Heal Your Life. It talks about how emotions that are left unprocessed will make their way into reflections or ripples from our physical body as it tries to get our attention and point us to unresolved lower vibration emotions that are causing dis-ease in our lives. Even just searching the internet for your symptoms or a diagnosis and then adding spiritual or emotional reason for it, it will yield a ton of results. So you don't have to buy the book, even though it's an amazing, awesome book, which I encourage everyone to read. So, you can see what resonates with you when you do that search. And I love Louise Hay's book because she also provides affirmations that can help us transform the emotional energy. Number 2 is unity of the coral reef. We are one. And as I've been exploring my relationship with my elemental spirit guides, I was receiving messages that we are you and you are we. I thought at first this was meaning that maybe they were me in a past life, and in a way that is true. And in some cases, it really is part of being that individual in a past life. But what they have clarified recently is that at a higher vibrational levels, as I was talking about earlier, we're not individuals like we are here on Earth. We're always joining collectives and are united. Ultimately, we are all of one gigantic collective, but we also exist within various smaller collectives to experience different functions and opportunities. It's like this human body. When we see it as a whole, it's a large collective of organs and cells and liquids and everything else. But each organ is a special collective of cells with a special function that differs from other organ collectives. And when I look at it this way, it helps me understand how we can all be separate cells, yet join together to form a function to keep the body healthy. And from a spirit perspective, we can exist as more than one organ at a time at the same time. That starts to blow my mind. So Faye, she shared that she was a marine biologist of Atlantis, but she didn't live in Atlantis. She took up residence on a coral reef near the large city, but she preferred a more quiet life, living on kind of like a barge-like dwelling that we would compare to like a houseboat, though it didn't float on the water. It floated above the water with easy access to the ocean below it. She had strong empathic abilities, and she connected emotionally and spiritually to the other residents and animals and fishies and everything else of the coral reef, sharing a strong bond with them. And she was accepted as one of them. I love how water and emotion mesh so well with empathic abilities. The third thing she wanted to talk about was transformation of emotions, which she called it adaptogens, which I don't even think that's a word in our English language right now. But so she shared that Atlanteans had great knowledge of DNA and what they called adaptogens, which were treatments they could take that altered their physiology, where the physical body would take on adaptations, enabling an individual to gain mutations that would help them feel more comfortable in different environments. And in her case, she was able to transform into something that we might refer to as a mermaid. She says, no fins in that lifetime, though, she jests. But she was able to breathe underwater for long periods of time, which was perfect for a marine biologist. Beneath that story, though, is an important capital T truth that adaptation and flexibility helps us move through these human lives with more ease. When we resist change or try to change others or situations, we feel out of control, and it instead creates chaos in our minds and hearts. Unconditional love and acceptance are beautiful, energetic expressions of the higher realm. And when we find ourselves resistant to others and their beliefs or perceived attacks, if we meet them with the same energy in that situation, Fights, battles, and wars are the result. But when we're able to greet these situations with love and grace, then we can have peace or have progression instead of regression and regrets. And yeah, I know. Why am I the only one who has to be flexible? Why can't they be flexible for a change? I get it. I know it isn't easy. But it can be a lot easier than battling and having to watch your back all the time, right? Right. And then the final thing that she wanted to mention, number 4, the subconscious and dreams. Like the deep depth of the oceans on our planet, emotions also interact with the deep of our human subconscious, which spills over into our dream world. Dreams are a safe place where spirit and all our spiritual support team can bring things to us to begin to accept, confront, and transform when the time comes. They usually start by bringing things into our dreams and also our peripheral vision. And by that, I mean we begin to see things out there first. People going through things, seeing events unfolding in the physical world that are not directly happening to us first, but they're starting to get us to feel comfortable and aware and of those things. And then they kind of ease in so kindly us into those things first before bringing them right in front of our faces. When we are facing any of these things and anything that touches our emotions, we can ask our water element spirit guide to help us. And they are that expert around emotional journeys, and they're so willing to help us. And I'm so grateful for you, Faye. So I hope that helps a little bit in getting to know your own water elemental. And if you'd like to share what you learned about them in the comments below, or if you want to keep it private, you can email me at brettazen@gmail.com. My email is always listed in the description box of the video. I'd love to hear about it. Okay, let's transition from the water element into the earth element. We're focusing on the earth element this month because of the influence of the 3-3 Zen gate of the Empress and her earthly energy of Taurus and Libra, along with the full moon lunar eclipse in Virgo bringing in very strong earth energy. We also entered the spring and fall equinox energy with the southern hemisphere fall energy bringing in the earth element too. So it's a perfect time to introduce the groundbreaker, the earth horse, the Knight of Pentacles or coins in the tarot. In this year of quests, we will meet each of the 4 horses and knights of the tarot, including the 5th horse energy of the major arcana in tarot. The earth element rules over our physical adventure, our physical world, our bodies, and our physical energy. Earth energy is grounded, it's solid, focused, nature-loving, organic, and sensual. Earth energy expresses itself as stability. It supports us being reliable and stable and aid us in managing practical matters in life, which brings practicality. Earth energy is practical and grounded, which helps us be good at creating stability and prosperity. It has connection to the physical world, of course. It connects us to Mother Earth, our shamanic abilities, a connection to animals, plants, crystals, and stones, anything else that moves in the physical world upon the earth. Brings in attention to detail. The earth energy can help us focus on the now. Feeling grounded, we can be more aware of what is going on and see the details. And then a work ethic. It brings in an energy that allows us to enjoy the harvest that comes from committing to doing the work with all the blood, the sweat, and the tears. Earth is what our bodies are made of. It's the existence of low vibrational energy. And it is the realm of individuality, cells that make up a body that experience themselves as separate, but together, but separate. Like a drop of water of the ocean wanting to experience itself differently It becomes vapor, rises above to join a cloud, and moisture as it moves across the sky, moves across the land. Then at its appointed time becomes a raindrop, a snowflake, maybe a piece of hail, and it drops to the earth. It experiences the separateness in the air, but once it hits the ground, it sinks into the ground to join the earth, or it joins other drops to form puddles, streams, lakes, all eventually making its way back to the ocean. We start off being very unaware that we are more than this human character, but most of us want to remember who we really are during this lifetime so we can join together with our human character and walk hand in hand through this life, becoming more aware of our higher self as we walk the path of contrast. What I mean by that is by walking this path of lower vibrational energy, we're able to understand our higher vibrational self more clearly because of that contrast. When water flows upon the ground, it brings moisture to the plants and trees, expanding and growing the earth energy. And when water joins with earth, it creates mud, which allows us to build things. And when earth is combined with fire energy, it becomes metal that can forge strong metal things. And when air energy joins earth energy, it results in a balanced energy that promotes creativity, adaptability, and a sense of being grounded while still allowing for flexibility and flow. Each element interacts with one another, but they all have their separate kingdoms they coordinate. And the earth element, of course, rules over our physical experience. The quest for the grand pentacle. I say quite often, every knight has a quest. It's what they do. And when we look at each of the knights of the minor arcana and tarot, they each hold the ace of their suit in their hands, representing this is what they long to have in their hands, and thus is their quest to pursue finding it. The quest for the Knight of Pentacles is for the Ace of Pentacles, the coin, as it's sometimes called. It's the quest for seeing our self-worth in relation to the outside world in a different way, a higher way. The journey of the Four of Pentacles is a perfect example of this. We begin by evaluating our self-worth from the outside world's perspective. But that's not the self defining us. It's more like retail price, what we are worth or what we feel we're worth to others. And we're conditioned to define our worth in that outside world, basically in three buckets: relationships with humans, which can be romantic, but also includes friends, family, coworkers, classmates, even our fur babies, feather babies, gill babies, whatever. Secondly, the bucket of situations like education, jobs, careers, social status, etc. And thirdly, the bucket of things, our bodies, our bank accounts, our possessions. And when we define ourselves by these things, we experience instability because all of these things are temporary and unstable. In relationships, people change, walk away, or pass away. So when we define ourselves by relationships with humans and or animals, we feel unstable. Situations never stay the same, of course, and things break down, deteriorate, blow up, burn down, stolen. So again, when we define ourselves by these things, we feel unstable because they are temporary and unstable. Eventually, when we grow tired, frustrated, or bored of the instability of the outside world, we turn inward where we find the only stable things in this dimension, the eternal, unconditional love of the higher realms. Eternal, lasts forever, that's pretty stable. Unconditional, meaning no conditions, not even when. It just takes one condition to make things conditional, so very stable. And we don't stop wanting these things from the outside world when we find that stability on the inside, but we stop needing them when we stop defining ourselves by them. It changes our perception of the physical world from one that feels like lack to a place of abundance. And as we fill ourselves up with that love from the inside, everything that comes to us from the outside world becomes above and beyond extra. Sounds wonderful, don't it? Why is this quest important? Why do all that stuff, right? Well, as long as we're defining ourselves by the outside world, we're going to try to control the outside world and everything in it because of our fear of rejection, fear of not being good enough, fear of failure, fear of not being enough, all those wonderful fears. Every experience we have in the outside world will mirror back to us how we feel about ourselves. We will have teachers showing us what we want to see about ourselves until we see it. The grand play with all these characters upon this grand stage are all here for us to experience what we are not so we can more fully understand who we are. And I've said it many times before and will continue to repeat the message. We don't see the world as it is. We see the world as we are through the conditioning, the filters we currently have. If we've done zero self-reflection, which I know all of you have done self-reflection, but let's just pretend. If we have done zero self-reflection, then we're not seeing anything close to reality. But the more we work on our emotional transformation, the clearer we feel things. The more we work on our mental transformation, the more clearly we understand and perceive things. The more we work on our energetic transformation, the more we attract the things we're truly wanting because our energy is now matching that. And the more we work on our physical transformation, the more our outer world matches our inner. The gift of the Ace of Pentacles. Each ace in the tarot brings us a gift from Spirit. The Ace of Pentacles brings us clarity around our true, capital T, true worth. We move from feeling like we will end up on the clearance rack to understand the pricelessness of who we really are. It also changes our perception of the world and everyone else in it. And that sounds like capital T, true abundance. The journey of the Pentacles. So this is the journey of the suit of Pentacles in the tarot. We begin with the Ace of Pentacles, and as we've been talking about already, it brings us a focus and awareness of our self-worth, giving us a gift of being able to see our worth from a higher place, from our higher self, anchored in the unconditional love from above. The Two of Pentacles introduces us to the power of choice in the physical world. Every moment we make mental and emotional choices of the story we apply to what we perceive, we're experiencing, and the emotion we want to feel, as well as energetic choices on what we want to focus on. A lot of that is on autopilot until we consciously choose to question our choices and consciously choose what we want rather than choosing what we've been taught and conditioned to choose. And this also extends into how we choose to act on all of these in the physical world. Two pentacles, two choices. Higher vibration rooted in unconditional love, or lower vibration rooted in fear of losing conditional love. We step into the Three of Pentacles with this awareness, which brings us messages of being true to our authentic selves, encouraging us to express ourselves creatively, and in interacting with others, we discover how our fear of rejection or fear of losing support can take us off our path of authenticity. Facing these fears helps us become more aware of our self-worth from the inside, which is amplified when we step into the Four of Pentacles. Now, being a card that can represent a feeling of home, four walls in the outside world, it is also one of the cards where we learn so much about our self-worth. And I talked about this journey back in the quest for the Grand Pentacle. The Five of Pentacles embodies the energy of change, and in the beginning represents the feelings of being left out in the cold, abandoned, left behind, lacking, and feeling helpless. What a great place to start, huh? But experiencing these lower vibrational situations is what we came here to do, so it's not wrong to feel this way. But when we're ready, we can embrace the power that comes with the change of this energy from feeling like we have no hope or feeling abandoned to an amazing place of trust in the Creator. We experience abandonment when we trust that humans are going to bring us what we need in the moment, because when a human inner child that we all have feels unsafe and out of control, it goes into survival mode, which will ignite it to pull back everything for itself, thus abandoning us and pulling back anything that they were giving us. But the pivotal point that happens is when we realize that it is not the humans that bring us what we need in each moment, but the Creator of all things, Source. They have endless resources, being Source. They unconditionally love us, which means we can't lose that love. And they never go into fear, so they will never abandon us. They may not give us everything that our fear ego wants, but we always have everything we need. They have given us everything we've needed up until now, or we'd be dead right now, right? So we can build our trust in the Creator that they will always provide for us what we need and more. Because they don't just give us bread and water to survive. They love us so much, they always want to bring us more. They might bring things through humans for us, but the humans act as a delivery service. Like when you order something from Amazon and it gets delivered by the Postal Service or UPS, rather than coming from the Amazon truck itself, right? So it can come to us in a variety of different ways. Sometimes we don't receive what our ego wants because our ego is trying to determine our worth by the outside world, and it helps rattle our belief systems if something we are so attached to receiving doesn't come our way. It happens for us, right? Not to us. Which brings us to the Six of Pentacles. It represents a wonderful balance of abundance, equal giving and receiving, and being blessed where we have plenty, enough for ourselves, where we're able to give to others without leaving ourselves with just crumbs. The even numbers in the tarot bring us to a place of balance, but after hanging out a while there, we can become stagnant, and our soul invites change and challenge into our lives to face something that's hidden below the surface. In this case, the Six of Pentacles also brings our awareness around any codependency that can be bubbling within us. We can develop an unbalanced rate of exchange when we're younger, especially 7 years old and younger, when our emotional body is being formed, which makes us feel we have to exponentially give more in order to receive very little, whether that be love, abundance, or whatever else we're looking to receive from the outside world. I have a little short video about the Six of Pentacles from my free video series, Take 10 with Zen, that can help bring perspective around balancing this, and I'll have it listed in the description box of this video down below if that resonates for you. Now, the Seven of Pentacles comes next, and that brings in this energy of patience energy. Ugh, I know. The last thing that grows on the fruit tree is the fruit. And everything starts as a seed, and then the seedling breaks out of the seed into the soil. It makes its way through the soil to the surface. It breaks through the surface, starting to form a little stem into a trunk, and then branches, and then leaves start sprouting, and then blossoms come, and then boom, the fruit appears eventually. Sometimes when we get these patience cards in the tarot, they come along to allow us time to look at the fruit as it arrives or during the process way before the fruit even starts to appear. We might have a pause or two or three where we discover the fruit that we have been working towards wasn't because it was something that we wanted, but it was born of trying to please others and bring the fruit forward that they wanted or that they wanted for us. We can decide that we no longer want to pursue those fruit trees, sell the orchard, and spend our energy on something that is more in alignment with who we are now, our higher self, what they want for us for our adventure. And the Eight of Pentacles energy helps us do this by showing us that putting in the blood, the sweat, the tears of doing the work, chopping the wood, carrying the water, focusing and not giving up on what we're trying to achieve, that it brings us reward. We see the wheels turning, we begin to see the fruit of our labor, and we evolve. It's like the apprentice becoming the master after studying under the master for a period of time, working hard. It also brings energy of learning, education, and expansion, which flows nicely into the Nine of Pentacles, representing independence, abundance. The apprentice has moved away and is now by themselves being a master. Well, they're not by themselves. They have spirit with them, usually represented by a flying animal of some kind in the picture of the card. There's also a little snail at the bottom, which of course snail symbolizes the time and patience it looks to get there, reflecting on the journey of the Seven and the Eight of Pentacles. The number 9 houses the energy of the Hermit from the Major Arcana, the number 9, which when applied to the Pentacle suit can bring the time of being separated from others in the physical world, but always having your spiritual posse of support around you, loving you and guiding you. And after going through all those cards, all that journey, wow, we of course will be freed from a lot of our beliefs around lack and how we're perceiving the world, which brings in the amazing, abundant feeling of the 10 of Pentacles. Partners, a child, a dog, ancestors, a palace, and coin. Woohoo! We are full and we are blessed. We always have been, but now we see it and are filled with gratitude. But the adventure isn't over yet. What? I know. Next, we move into the royalty of the Pentacle suit. All pages receive a second portion of Earth energy, making the Page of Pentacles the master of Earth energy, the beginnings, the newness. It's the youngest of all the royalty. And the page cries out like in the olden days, "Hear ye," bringing news of the Ace of Pentacles, a new heightened way to encompass and perceive our self-worth. It brings new opportunities into our physical world because we have evolved our self-worth, expanding our courage to step forward into things that we would not have been able to do in the past because of our fear. The Knight of Pentacles is the slowest moving knight out of all four, which has some of the same feels as that Seven of Pentacles to it we talked about. But this knight is also on the quest for the Ace of Pentacles, as we've been discussing. This is the whole video, right? The Queen of Pentacles brings in the energy of the Empress, Mother Nature, Mother Nurture, birthing, abundance, and sensuality. She makes sure to focus on her own health and life so that she can fill up and give the world the greatest gift that she can, a healthy, full, overflowing queen. The kings of a suit have been through all the adventures of the entire suit and embody the wisdom and knowledge gleaned during the journey. They also represent, this king, abundance, fullness of life in grand, wise ways, because they see that life is more than what we see, and they radiate the lessons gleaned through their life, starting with feeling worthless when they define themselves from the outside world, to the pricelessness they feel now that they have found their own self-worth from inside their own hearts. We also have major arcana that help with big things in our lives, though at times they might work behind the scenes and under the surface. So let's take a look at some of the major arcana that I connect with earth energy, though some of them have other zodiacal sign significance and elemental energy. So I already mentioned the Empress, who is Venus energy and, of course, earth energy when we spoke of the Queen of Pentacles, and then also the number 9 Hermit, which is Virgo energy, when we spoke about the 9 of Pentacles. So I won't dive into them, but we'll dive into a few others. We got the number 5, the Hierophant, which is Taurus energy. And that brings us teacher-student energy, especially around learning of spiritual knowledge and wisdom. It also has a message from our higher self, drawing us to see things from a higher perspective, from a place of unconditional love rather than from the human perspective of fear of losing conditional love. In a way, we move beyond the 5 senses of pleasure, finding the 6th sense that brings us, capital T, true pleasure to our soul. Number 8, the Strength card. And though the Strength card is Leo fire energy, it also brings us a great story akin to the 4th of Pentacles that I spoke of earlier, about searching for our worth outside of us and eventually finding our worth inside of us. Because the lion in the card represents our human character, and the maiden that's usually in there represents our higher self with the little infinity symbol. And at first, our lion is unaware of our higher self, the maiden, and it arrives here hungry. And it's told to look out there into the world for that which will fill it up and take away the hunger. So it eats of relationships and situations and things, but the more it eats, the hungrier it becomes, because the outside world can only offer temporary and unfulfilling substance. Eventually, the lion becomes so desperate and hungry that it becomes hangry, hungry, angry, and it roars in the jungle. And that is when our higher self reveals itself to our human character. It doesn't come down judging and wanting to change the lion, because it knows that what the lion is hungry and searching for is the unconditional love of back home, which we can't find in great amounts in the current state of humanity. And it just so happens that our higher self is made of unconditional love energy, so it's able to give to the lion that which it hungers for. The lion transforms from a hangry, roaring lion to a purring little lion cub, lying in the lap of our higher self. And unlike Superman, who flies off after rescuing us, we join hand and paw with our higher self and walk together, seeing the world and experiencing the world in a completely different way. A way of fullness, a way of completeness, peace, joy, and unconditional love. Then we have the number 10, the Wheel of Fortune, which has Jupiter, fire energy, and the card 16, the Tower, which has Mars, Aries fire, with some Scorpio, water energy too, Pluto, transformational energy. And they bring a similar message that whatever unfolds in the physical world, though from the viewpoint of our human might seem not for us, actually is for us. The energy of these two cards gives a kind of change of perception, moving from a place of victimhood, that life happens to us, to a place that we wanted these things to happen for us for a reason. Things, situation, and people are removed from our path and our lives to make room for things that are in more alignment with our path and where we are wanting to head, who we are wanting to become. And then we have number 15, the Devil card, which is Capricorn energy, earth energy. And it brings in Saturn return energy, which represents our shadow and other spiritual posse helpers, right, who are aiding us in having our lives shaken so we can realize we have our mind and our heart in a cage, barred in with a lot of popular opinions that were given to us when we were growing up. But these situations challenge us to question why we believe what we do and encourage us to think differently from that higher place of unconditional love instead of from those small t truths that are rooted in fear. Which brings us, lastly, to card number 21, the last card in the major arcana, which has Saturn, Earth energy in it too, representing the ending of a major cycle and the beginning of a new one. We start again with the full card at number 0, which is an energy of new possibilities, not being caged by that long list of supposed to be, should be, need to be, must be, and all those expectations that we learn from other human opinions. We're free to explore a whole new world because we started out saying, we don't see the world as it is, we see the world as we are. And when we change on the inside, because we're changing, we also start to see the world around us change. Seeing both sides of the pentacle. So next, let's talk about a few tools that can be used that are tied to the earth energy of the physical experience. We'll start off with ritual. And really, any type of physical ritual is helpful for our journey because they help us bring that spiritual energy into the physical realm. An example of this is new moon wishes. We do get 10 new moon wishes every new moon. And I encourage everyone to write them down and say them out loud because that is activating physical energy and vibration, anchoring the intention of the wishes into this realm. Revisiting the wishes often with gratitude also electrifies the physical realm with that energy, and it draws things to us through gratitude. And there's much more to new moon wishes that you can do to make the most of them, and I won't cover them here, but be sure to check out my new moon readings that I put out each month, as I tend to talk about how to make the most of the wishes with those videos for that current new moon energy. Next, dancing, flowing, aligns our physical energy and vibration with that of our mental, emotional, spiritual, and ethereal energy. As we let that energy flow into our bodies, we let it express itself through movement, connecting us to the earth. Shamanic drumming can activate us so deeply. There's something about drumming that reminds us of the heartbeat of Mother, and that Mother energy helps us connect and ground us with Mother Earth. It can put us in touch with our inner shaman who can travel in between worlds to gather parts of us that we may have left behind. Yoga and physical structured exercise help us center into our physical bodies and can help bring us out of the past and the future into the moment now where unconditional love exists. The now is where we live, so it's helpful to bring us back to something that is close to reality instead of an illusory world of fear. Connecting with the earth, whether that's walking barefoot, lying down upon the earth, interacting with animals. It was interesting when Spirit told me that most animals spend their lives in bliss. It's just when they bump into humans that they experience our cycles of fear and the impact our fears have on them. Humans used to also spend a lot of their lives in bliss until we developed emotional monsters by cohabitating in tribes and towns and cities and societies. But connecting with Mother Earth helps us stabilize our energy. And then we can interact with animals from a state of bliss. And then they won't attack us. And then the last 3 tools are things we've already talked about, but I would like to point them out as tools. So we have stabilizing our worth, which was all that 4 of Pentacles we've been talking about. Transforming beliefs in lack, which is the 5 of Pentacles. And then balancing the rate of exchange, which is that 6 of Pentacles. And I love that we're never alone in our adventure here, even when we don't have physical beings around us. We're surrounded by a large host of beings of unconditional love and light who want to help us any way that we ask of them. They never sleep, and they're never away from us. And some of the members of this amazing posse of support are our elemental spirit guides. I mentioned in the first quest video in January that spirit can be interpreted by humans in different ways, like air elemental energy, angels, butterflies, dragonflies, wind elementals. Fire, our spirit guides, divine masculine, cosmic father, and fire elementals, the sun. Earth brings us ghosts and fairies and ancestors, and Mother Earth and earth elementals. And of course, water, moon, Mother Luna, goddess, divine feminine, cosmic mother, and water elementals. We also talked about what an elemental spirit guide is, so for more details on this, check out the January quest video. The links for the quest playlist are listed in the description box of the video down below and also be linked at the end of this video. So how to meet your earth elemental spirit guide. I love this section of these videos. Since this video focused on the earth element, let's talk about how you can meet your earth elemental spirit guide. Now we can connect to all of our spirit guides of all kinds through physical ritual, as I mentioned earlier, but it is especially beneficial to focus on physical earth ritual when connecting to your elemental spirit guide of earth. It makes sense that we have representations of earth around us when we're going to begin to connect with this earth elemental spirit guide, especially if we're not able to get out into nature because of where we live, the climate, the timing of the day, or whatever reason we have that we can't be out in nature for a ritual. So, of course, if you can, I highly encourage to do that. That Mother Nature away from all the chaos. Oh, it's beautiful. So this can be like having stones or crystals, dirt or sand. We can even use house plants for our connection. Find somewhere quiet in your home where you won't be interrupted or disturbed. Put your phone on silent for a moment. Sit in a comfortable position. And there's no wrong way to reach out to our spirit guides. So don't fall into a rigid attitude that things have to happen a certain way or unfold a certain way. Just approach it as if you're going to go chat with a dear, trusting, unconditionally loving friend, because you are. Whatever part of you is touching the ground or chair, if you're sitting in a chair, whether that's your feet or your bohiney, imagine roots growing out from you down into the earth and growing through all the layers of ground and rock and magma, all of that reaching the heart of Mother Earth. You're anchored in her unconditional love for you. And then touch the item or items you've chosen to represent the earth, crystal or whatever. And as you touch with your fingers, focus in on the sensations that you're feeling through your fingers. Is it cool or warm? Rough or smooth? Solid or flexible? Sit with that for as long as you would like, just connecting to sensation. And then move your attention to who is it that is experiencing these sensations. Your brain is receiving the information from your fingers and your fingertips and providing you the data. But who is this who? You're more than this human body, more than the consciousness of your human existence. But you have chosen to have part of yourself experience what it would feel like to be at this lower vibration for a bit. And so has your earth elemental spirit guide chosen to be here. All earth elemental spirit guides have existed in human form sometime in what we call the past. They experienced life as shamans, medicine men and women, witch doctors, energy workers, and healers of all kinds. Their connection with Mother Earth was very strong, and of course still is, and they wanted to continue to help other humans on their adventures. Yes. Did you realize that means someday you might also choose to have that experience of being an earth elemental spirit guide for someone else? How cool would that be? All right, so sitting in this energy, close your eyes and open up your mind's eye to them. Ask them to show themselves to you. Ask them who they are. What would they like you to call them? How do you know them? Have you had lifetimes with them before? And if so, ask them to show you what that looked like. They will reveal themselves to you in the perfect time and show you more about their energy and what they would like you to know about your physical adventure. They rule over your physical journey, but that's based on what you asked them to bring forward for you before you came down here. They can also bring you signs, synchronicities, and answers into your physical world if you ask them from your power of choice and free will. Ask, and they will answer. I'll share a little bit about my interactions with my Earth Elemental Spirit Guide in next month's quest video that will come out next month because, again, I don't want to influence your experience with yours right now. Remember, we are so loved. I cover more element information each month through the full moon, new moon, and sun readings that I put out, my Zen Gate readings, my weekly Zen Bites, yearly energy forecasts for each individual zodiac sign, and quarterly I have solstice and equinox readings by element as well. There are links to all of these playlists listed in the description box of this video down below, and some of them will appear at the end of this video here in a moment if you're drawn to check any of those out. So that's it for this month's quest into the physical realm. And if you so choose to accept a quest, see what stood out to you in this video and let that be your personal quest until our next quest video, where we'll delve into the element of fire, the magic maker, the Knight of Wands. And of course, let me know if you have any questions or share any inspirations, observations, or knowledge you would like to share with the Zen friends. You can comment on this video, or if you'd prefer something more private, you can email me at brettazen@gmail.com. I'm so glad we're on this adventure together in this lifetime, and remember, we're never alone. We are eternally and unconditionally loved by a great host of beings of unconditional love and light. And of course, I love you too. So until we meet again, much love to you, and enjoy your adventure.